Hello everyone, welcome to Wildfire Gaming, and we have another box opening for you. I was hoping to do a box opening of Gothic. Unfortunately, here in the UK we've been told it's going to be delayed. We don't know by how much, so I've decided to put out some other content instead. Unfortunately, all we know at the moment is that it's just not coming for a little while, and I've checked with my local gaming store and they don't know how long that delay could be. Apparently the suppliers haven't given them any sort of date, so we're going to open up another box of beta and see what we get. Hopefully we get some good stuff like we did in the last one, and we can have some chats about what's going on in Sorcery at the moment. So I'm just going to open this up and then hopefully we shall go from there and see what we get. I've got to admit, I do love boxes of Sorcery, and just especially beta and just opening them up. It just feels such a nice experience, being a previous Magic player, and it just feels a fun experience to open, and some nice cards, and you're always looking for the hidden treasures, the curiosos. I have yet to find one, but I do probably need to go back. I was shown some recently with a one-word change, and so it can be very hard, I've got to admit, to spot a curioso. There's my box topper with all the little tokens. So I can't wait to open the Gothic one and see what that's like. Okay, so let's start with these first 12 and see what we get to. So, I mean, we've had some definite changes going on. We've had the judge scheme announced, and changes with all their so just changing all the cards around so we can see the rares and uniques hopefully at the bottom. But yeah, we've certainly seen some changes as well with cards as well recently. In particular, the ones where they heal you. And having just played very recently in a game where in a couple of games actually, one where I lost someone hitting my lands and getting healing up from that, and then another one where I hit one target and healed up from it. I can see the value of it. Oh, and we have our first foil, and it's a Vile Imp, so that's a really good card to pull, ordinary to pull as a foil, especially with the new set coming out. I can't be too upset about that. So obviously this is a demon, and we know demons are quite heavily supported in Gothic, so that's great. I will put that to one side, and hopefully we get some more like that and get a load of foils. I mean, my last box was exceptional. If you haven't seen that yet, I would recommend going back and watching it, where I got so many very unique foils. So I would say always be very aware of what to look out for. It can be quite hard, and I'm pretty sure I probably have had a curioso and not seen it. So I'm definitely going to go back through my bulk and through all my rares and mythics and just have a look at the wordings. Just make sure your wordings are correct, and that you haven't missed one. Okay, so we're on to our exceptionals. The Naiads, Holy Ground, which I think will be useful as we go on. Call to War. I do like that card. And then we have the Geistword. So we've got our first unique. Oh, brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to put that in a sleeve. And yeah, that's brilliant. We've got our first unique. First pack, first unique. And I do like the Geistword. I have heard and seen the counter to this, I suppose, the new wood, and so I'm quite looking forward to hopefully pulling one of those at some point. Let's pile those up out of the way. So sort out my piles there, and we're going to go on to the next one. So yeah, I think seeing some of the changes, I'm quite happy with a lot of the changes. I mean, the druid, it feels, I don't know, and maybe like they've now made Tawny. I would say it feels like Tawny's become a little bit underwhelming, shall we say, with the other changes they made. I think maybe if there was a cost to Tawny after the first time that she was summoned, that might work, rather than just no, you only could get Tawny once. It does seem a little bit limiting, or I don't know, some sort of other cap to Tawny, just to make Tawny something a little bit different. I feel like that would make Tawny still a little bit viable, and the Druid still a threat without going too mad. And it just feels that we've lost. I don't think we'll see as many Druids going forward as possible. But then we have new avatars and new cards, so I'm not sure if that will have an effect. We have a Summer River, and then Sunken Treasure. I do like the treasure just for all the stuff that's going on in that picture. Who was that one by then? Jeff Menges. So I really do like that artwork. I've got to say, the Waypoint Portal, I do like the Waypoint Portal. I do like a lot of the art in this set, and just in Sorcery in general. I think that it's got that nice feel to it. It's nice to see actual painted art rather than AI art all the time. And our next one is Unlikely Alliance. Now, I like this card. I like the idea behind it. I think the thing what puts me off putting in a lot of decks is just, am I going to have enough cards out? And in part of my brain says yes. You should have probably a unique or and a common out at the same time, but it's very situational. So I think that's what puts me off. But it is card draw, so maybe I should be putting it in more decks. Let me know what you think. Do you play that a lot? And tell me what you think about it in general. Just, do you think it's a good card, or do you think, what do you think about the card draw situation? I suppose that's another thing, because there's not much card draw in Sorcery at the moment. I'm still not sure all the cards in Gothic. I have certainly seen a couple of new additional card draw, but I think that's one I'm sort of curious about to see what other people think about that. There is a limit on the card draw in this set, in this game, which I'm not too worried about because of the way the game works. You pretty much guaranteed you can always draw a land. If you need to, most of the avatars have draw land or play land, so you can always draw one if you really need to. Plus, you always get a card at the beginning of your turn, so it doesn't feel too much of a problem. Sometimes it feels like it, and then other times I feel like I have so many cards that it's not so much that's the problem. Okay, so we have a Spring River for our last land, and then we have Phantom Steed, a Mudflow. So at the start of your turn, surface or unbarrow each minion occupying target site nearby. And then we have Cone of Flames. Always like me a bit of fire for. And then we have the Magellan Globe. Magellan Globe? I'm not entirely sure, but I do like the effect of it, and I do like the artwork. But yeah, I think, having played quite a few games of Sorcery now, it does feel much more strategic based. It does feel much more like there is a lot more to consider in a game of Sorcery, but it feels fun. I think that's the thing. I feel like Sorcery is fun, where things like Magic, where there's so many sets, I can't keep up. I feel like with Sorcery now at the moment, to keep up with the meta, And with so many sets releasing all the time. Oh, we have a sorcerer. Um, I think this is my favourite avatar. So, and in some ways, it's fun to actually get this in non-foil. That's actually, I see it feels harder to get than the foil version. So that's our first avatar of the pack. But yeah, I feel like the way that Sorcery's got it, with potentially, based on what was discussed in some of the videos they've released, potentially one main set a year and then maybe some supplementary products, is much more the speed I sort of want to be going at, rather than, and we have an Island Leviathan as our elite for that pack. But it's much more the speed I sort of want to be going at for sets. I know other people are probably going to say no, they want to go, they like having all the Magic sets and the Pokemon sets, which are releasing all the time. But for me, it just feels a little bit easier to get into these sets and actually get through quite a few boxes. I mean, I'm not one of these big spenders, and I don't have the budget. Obviously, I'm sure some people do, but most of the people I know would very much like it. So if they could really dive into a set and have time to enjoy it. Where a lot of the Pokemon and Magic players, it's no sooner have they dived into a set, then already the next set's coming out. In quite a few occasions, it's literally the next month. So if they want to keep up, they have to immediately start saving for the next set, and it takes up all their money now. And I mean, I'm still playing Magic, and I still play Commander for Magic, and I still like doing every so often a draft. But for me, the Kappas, the UK Kappas, I quite like these as the water guys, and just the random disembodiment of of a person. Dismemberment, sorry, of a person. And I think that's something as well. It's sort of like you don't get a chance to really enjoy the art or the stories behind Magic anymore, just because it's a bit rushed. Where I feel like I get time to enjoy Sorcery. I get time to really have a look at their artwork, and the curiosos being hidden in the art, hidden in there. So it might just be a symbol change or a word change, means that you're actually encouraged to go through every card very carefully and then really enjoy what is actually shown. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I probably missed a curioso or two, and I really do need to just go back through all the cards, keep out a very close eye, and make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so we've got an Autumn River. Seem to be pulling a lot of rivers today. An Albatross. We've got our first dual lands. Now, I don't know if dual lands are actually going to be worth the money that the Magic ones are, but I certainly think they are color fixing for you, and it's better to have them and be on the safe side with them, I think, than not to have them. We have the Phalanx, and then we have the Immortal Throne, which is another unique monument, and is actually one of the ones I was still needing. And so I'm really happy to get that. So whenever a unique monument to life everlasting. Whenever another player, so whenever anyone plays a card with cost equal to the number of level counters on their Immortal Throne, they draw a card and add a level counter. At level 8 or more, an avatar here alone wins the game. So it's a win con, it's a card draw, so it's really presenting quite a lot of options for a 4-power monument. So I think that's quite good. I think the only thing is, obviously, you have to be very careful you're not forced off it by your opponent and suddenly you lose the game. The only other thing is, as well, is it takes quite a while to get to 8 levels there. So I'm not sure that anyone's going to win that. It takes a lot of work to get that. So you need that sort of almost in your opening hand. Get to 3 or 4 mana on your second turn, play this, and then be building up to it. What does seem a lot of work to me, but I just like it for having the completion, and you never know what might come later on in the game. So we might see other things appearing in new sets, including Gothic, what might make that worthwhile. I mean, do tell me what people are looking forward to, or may have already pulled, because I think some people in America have already received Gothic, and I can see the elite or unique is definitely a land. Oh, there's our Violin again. I find these really useful in a lot of games, but at the same time, I have found myself pulling them out for other cards recently, changing the way I'm going. Unravel, destroy all artifacts and undead minions. This might see a lot of play over the next couple of months as we settle in with Gothic. Teleport is always useful. We have Sleep. Blink. See, Blink I think is one of those really good cards that fits in any air deck, or any deck that has air. It's definitely one to consider chucking in there. If you're playing air, I would put 2 or 3 copies in any deck because it's just so useful and versatile. Dead of Night Demon, Wall of Ice, Grapple Shot, Blizzard, and the Grey Wolves. So I mean, I'm interested to see if we might have in Gothic another tribal like the Grey Wolves, where it's just you want as many of them as you can get. And I mean, I do think, should I do a Grey Wolves? I think I have enough of them probably to do one, but not as many as some people. But I mean, the towers, I love the towers. I definitely think they're something that we should hoping to see more of in just all the sets going forward. That kind of mechanic, and I'm just sort of curious to see what other people think of them. I think they were, the tower set for air, I feel, is very, very powerful compared to most of the other basic lands in beta, just because for what they do. We have the Bullfrog, and then we have the Salamander. Now, I would love to build a deck where I could have a load of creatures which weren't affected by fire, which were all fire creatures, and then just be spamming fire spells. We've already got the Phoenixes and the Salamanders, so I'm hoping we might have a basic ordinary, and then maybe something else. See if we could create a fire deck at some point that's you can shoot through your own troops because they just don't care. And then for our final card, we have the Basilisk. Now I'll say no, we don't. This is our final exceptional. I think this can be good, but I definitely think I saw someone playing this the other day, and just to warn everyone, it's only creatures on its side or directly in front of it. It can, if someone attacks into it from the rear or from the side, they are not disabled until they come to rest. So when they're attacking, they're not resting, and can kill this. Just to be warned. And we have a Primordial Spring. Now, to be honest, I find this a hard card to play in a deck. I've tried to put it in decks, play it, but you need to be behind. So unless someone is really somehow well ahead of you, this card at the moment doesn't feel that useful. But however, if we suddenly see an avatar appear in a future set that plays 2 or 3 lands at the beginning, this might be worthwhile putting back in. But until then, I don't think it's really going to see that much play with me. But you never know. I do like the artwork for it now, I have to say, but yeah, I just think that card for me just doesn't feel as useful as some of the other cards that are in this set or in any of the sets so far. Not until we see someone who wants to bring out a load of lands. I mean, that's something as well. I definitely feel like we need the packs are good quality, the cards are good quality. So it definitely feels, I've never felt like there's any cards I'm that upset about. They don't feel quite right, or the packs feel too thin. So I think that's a good recommendation for the whole set. We have Bone Rabble, the Crabs, the Extinguish, the Heat Ray, the Scorpions, the Ice Lance, Common Sense, which is obviously sees a lot of play at the moment, but from what I understand from some of the spoilers, may be overtaken by some of the other cards out there, especially some of the lands. A Blizzard, another tower, a Gothic tower. Again, a nice little card. Definitely like the tower series, and always include those in my air. And we have a Ruins. Love that Ruins. I just think it pops straight away. And the fallen other parts of the city behind it, or the towers behind it. So it fits in quite well. So quite happy to see that. We have a cave-in. And I always think the cave-in looks quite, even though it's quite a simple scene, I think it looks quite detailed and sort of draws your eye in. We have the crossbowman, and then we have a silence. And I think this is quite a good card that sees underplayed, in quite a few areas. I think this is, this can have quite a devastating effect if you get it right, to suddenly make all their abilities of enemy minions suddenly stop working. So it can have quite a knock-on effect. Right, so let's see what we get in the next one. Hopefully we will pull another unique. That would be nice. Or even a foil unique. I would love to be spoiled. So far we've only pulled one foil, so we are quite low on the foils in this pack. A Midnight Rogue, a Spin Attack, a Wicked Mannequin, Cavalry, Extinguish, Scorpions, Common Sense, and Dryads, and Harpoons, Amazon Warriors, and we have a Hamlet Village. So quite good, because it does spawn you obviously a minion. For the, you can pay for this land, can pay for its minion. So I always like that. Oh, and we have another dual land. We have a windmill, so we've now got 3 of the dual lands. So I'm very happy already with that. And then we have telekinesis. Oh, someone might have guessed what their last card is there. Flanking maneuver, and the Vault of Zol. A unique sight of beguiling riches. The first time an avatar stops here, they draw 3 cards and skip their next turn. So I like this card, but I also am not sure about this card. Losing a whole turn from your avatar to play this card does feel bad. So unless you've got something like Morgana, or you've got other spellcasters out there, losing your spellcaster for a turn to get this out, so to draw the 3 cards, does seem a little bit questionable. But I might be proved wrong, and it might end up being a very good card in the future, especially if there are ways around that, of casting some of those other cards, or if you don't need it. So I suppose if you're playing, if you've cast all your spells, and you just need to restock your hand, this might be the way to do it. Okay, so we've got Wall of Air. I think the other thing as well, I don't know if any of you have seen it. There was a sort of thing where they brought up about the Dragon Lord set, and how the demand for it seemed to be underwhelming. That's why perhaps it wasn't picked up by as many people. But I would definitely say for where I am, and from people I've spoken to, a lot of people were trying to order it through their LGSs, and there was definitely a lot of interest. I know for a fact, my local gaming store, they were trying to pre-order it several months ahead. That most of the people had indicated they wanted it even a year before when it was originally announced. There was loads of people who were saying, yes, I'll take 1, 2, or even 3 copies. And as we got closer and closer to it, more and more people were trying to put down deposits, and they weren't able to, because the store didn't want to take deposits without confirming at least how many numbers they would get. And then the suppliers confirmed to everyone they didn't have enough. They hadn't been able to order more in, and they were only able to give everyone 2 decks or 2 boxes per shop. And I know of at least one shop where the owner basically took one box themselves for one staff member, and then no one else got one. Or the store I'm by, they thankfully did give people an opportunity, and they actually did it as a sort of raffle, and two lucky winners got to buy the decks, rather than actually only sell it to the first people through the door when they got them or something. It was like, there we go, to make it a bit fairer. And they've tried to be very fair in that, and then did give them one more away when they got it for an event. So they are trying to be as fair as possible. Lone Tower, I believe they've got another one now, and they are apparently looking to they're going to open that box, raffle, and then raffle off the contents, and everyone can get one card out of it, to try and make sure that every person who plays Sorcery, or at least most of the people who play Sorcery, at least have access to one card out of that set. So we've got the Poisonous Dagger. We have the Gnome Hollows. So let me know if you guys have been able to get hold of it, or what you think about the supply issue. I mean, especially as they're talking about the potentially doing supplementary sets. I mean, if they're more limited like the Dragon Lord set, hopefully they've learned from that one, and they will make them slightly more available. The Sky Baron, especially as, I mean, in my local area at least, we are definitely seeing a massive increase in player numbers, and the player numbers continue to increase. What makes me think that we will see more people sort of showing up and wanting those supplementary products. So I definitely think they do need to increase their supply numbers of those products if they are going to do them, just to make sure that we do actually get a chance to get everyone to have at least one, or the fair majority of people in a store to have a chance of getting one, because two is just not enough. I mean, if you've got a store that has an actual player base for it, you have to assume that it's going to be at least 4 to 8 people. We have a red desert there as our land, and then we have advantage hills. This is, I think, really good. I can see there's going to be a lot of range units at some point, and I can imagine, having a load of Vantage Hills out to give them that extra range will really, and power will, really come in handy. And probably make them quite hard to assault. We have gnomes. We have, sorry, let me sort things out here a bit. The werewolf, and then we have the Chains of Prometheus. So whenever a player draws a card, that player taps their strongest untapped minion. Now, I've played against this, and I do find this a hard card to get around, because you're tapping units, and obviously you immediately draw a card at the beginning of your turn, and it taps one of your units. So your strongest card is immediately, or your strongest minion, sorry, is immediately tapped down for the rest of your turn. So now, obviously, if you've got a lot of minions who are all at the same level, that doesn't matter too much. But obviously, if you're having to restock, and if your opponent plays it right, they've just drawn a load of cards and not really needing to bring a load more out, and they've got a couple of strong minions out, then they can afford to tap one and leave the rest where they are. So I think that's quite a it is a hard card to potentially get around, but it's a fun card to get around. It's a challenge, and I think that we'll see that more as we go on. More of those kind of cards appearing in decks, to make it a little bit more challenging and fun for people. And I look forward to seeing that. I'm about to play in a sort of store tournament on Friday, which has been set up instead. So hopefully we'll all have some fun and do a nice little draft. And I'll tell you about it in another session how it goes. Rolling Boulder, Drought, Secret Tunnel, and we have the Ruler of Fall. I haven't pulled this one yet, so I'm very happy to see him. I have played against him, and it's shocking when he shows up. He really empowers everyone, and he's just a great card to pull, and I'm really happy to see him. And if you haven't played against him yet, or you have him, and you're playing water, he's definitely hard to get round. Yeah, I'm really happy to see that. So far then we have pulled only one foil, but I have 3 dual lands and I have 4 uniques in the first 12 packs. So I'm happy with that. And I also got Sorcerer as my avatar in that one, and a non-foil Sorcerer. So happy with that. Right, I'm going to end the video here, and I'm going to do look for my next video, and it will be out shortly. All right, thanks guys, bye.